So I promised you guys I would do it. Today we deciphered the last page, Oda's greatest page, the mural. So the first thing I have to talk about is, of course, Imu. Imu looks like Kaido on steroids. He has this hybrid form of whatever Delph fruit he has, and he's holding the sun. And I'm thinking, yo, Luffy is known as the sun god Nika, but you're holding the sun. Like, what kind of powers does that mean? He's the only legit guy on the mural that's on his side. It looks like it's a 20v1 like Drake, and if it's a 21v1 and Imu's Drake, you know who's Kendrick, Luffy. Imu does win the war in this mural, but for how long? Because the third world's connected to the second world, and the second world's connected to the first world. But yeah, just my honest thoughts is he looks like some sort of demon. We saw when Imu was fighting Sabo with his tail or whatever it was, that arrow that kind of reminded me of Gonku's Delph fruit, but still, that was intense. People like to downplay, but Sabo is a Logia. For Imu to do that grave damage on a Logia shows that his haki is insane, and also his physical strength as whatever creature he is insane. But seeing him so big too, he's towering over Loki. Well, I can't really say Loki, but you guys will understand what I'm saying. He's towering over any other character in the mural. He's the biggest character on the mural. He's like the size of Adam Tree. If Luffy's heading going up against that, Luffy's gonna need some hope. Now, the next thing I want to talk about on this mural is the ship. The ship has 6 members that seem to be on Imu's side, and it's only one ship. And I believe there's only 2 scenarios right now. The first scenario is that ship just represents the world government. The individuals don't really matter. It just represents the world government and Lily. And that Lily's a 6th member that's falling off the ship, showing that Lily is actually 19 kings, not the 20th king, the Alabasta king or queen, who chose not to stay up there in the Holy Land Mary Joyous and chose to stay in the Blue Sea because she was actually not on your side, Imu. But yeah, that's one of the scenarios. The second scenario is maybe it's a foreshadowing at Figureland betraying Imu. Who knows? But most likely it's just the 5 Gorosei and Lily. And Imu just got confirmed that Lily was a Willy D member. So he kind of had suspicions, but he never knew for sure. I'll say I don't know if Imu's a guy or a girl. I'm just saying he, just to play it safe, but still, gotta keep it real, guys. That's my theory on that ship. People want me to talk about it, and I just think that's my theory right now. It's a mural, guys. We're like, how far can we decipher a mural? Of course, we can decipher crazy, but still, like, you still need more clues. And One Piece has lots of clues, but I'm saying just the mural itself. I'm not gonna do like some crazy 3-hour, 4-hour video on just the mural and connecting to different chapters and episodes. That is gonna happen in the future. Right now, it's only been 3-4 days, so I gotta give you guys my not initial reaction, but more so analyzing the mural by itself in its own right. Now, the next thing we see is this giant fighting the Gorosei, probably. And I'm thinking it has to be a Jaguar D-style ancestor. Now, if this isn't a giant, the next thing I'm thinking is maybe this is one of Nika's Joy Boy's strongest allies. Because the mural doesn't really determine the size, because you don't know if the size has been altered by some sort of power or ability. We know that's their base form or their actual true form. But just to play it safe, I think it's Jaguar D, whatever character that is, from the Void Century. That's my guess. And then, of course, there's the Mink fighting leader of Zou. Of course, we all know that we had a literally whole Zou arc for this reason. We literally had a whole Mink die during Whole Cake Island, and then of course the Minks when Sulong and Wano was just hype. Peckham's also. We had so many legit Minks throughout the story, story seeing them. So the Minks are gonna have a representation during the Void Century. They literally live on Zunisha, Joy Boy's dog, Joy Boy's friend. So yeah, the Mink have one of their. I'm probably thinking it's a leader. Now you might be thinking, what kind of leader it is. I'm mostly gonna assume this is probably just a leader, like the king of Zunisha in a sense, to make people. It has to be the leader. That's my guess. Then of course people like to not really notice the Tontada, and of course we all know Leo, the Tontada, is a part of the Grand Fleet from Dressrosa, that arc, and they've played a big part. I think that the fact that there's a Tontada in the Void Century, the Tontadas have incredibly powerful strength for their size. I think there's definitely going to just show Oda pretty much saying that Joy Boy has all the races with him. It's crazy because Big Mom wanted all the races on her island, Whole Cake Island, and Joy Boy actually had them all fighting in a war. So I gotta give respect where respect is due. And one of the most valuable members on that mural is the Mermaid Princess. Yes, the reason why she's so valuable is because we first learned of Joy Boy through that promise he broke to the Mermaid Princess. And you have to understand, this all has to do with the Noah, and of course we have to understand King Neptune was kind of explaining this to Robin. So we see the Mermaid Princess, and she's Poseidon. She's an ancient weapon. She's one of the strongest battle members on the battlefield because of her power to control the Sea Kings. And we actually see a little fish right beside her, and that is her Sea King, in my opinion. Now, some people might be like, oh, that's just a fishman. No. Oda would have showed a fish man. I think this is a Sea King, or a fish representing a Sea King, in my opinion. Now, many people have been making theories on the 4 ships on the bottom of the mural, and many people think that each one of these ships represent one of the Grand Fleet members in the future, or represent islands that Joy Boy has been to. Honestly, I think the 4 ships, it would be shocking, but I think they might represent each sea. They could represent the North Blue, South Blue, West Blue, and East Blue. Yes, I think there's 4 ships where we don't have a distinct representation on the ship. They have unique designs as well. And of course, me as a fan, I'm thinking maybe one of the ships is a Shandian. I think that if you read Skypiea, Shandians have to be a main part of the Joy Boy Void Sentry. So this mural, I'm hoping that one of them ships is a Shandian, of course, but that's just my guess right now. Now it gets a little bit easier when it comes to the ships, and that's of course Wano ship. We see 2 samurais, and it's most likely the Kozuki clan, because the Kozuki clan, they're pretty much a Will D clan of Wano, because they helped build the poneglyphs. They understand how to read the poneglyphs. That's why Odin was actually helping Roger get to Laughdale. Odin had the voice of all things, so it shows that the only other character we've seen with the voice of all things is Goldie, Roger, and Monkey D. Luffy. The fact that Kozuki Odin had it in Momonosuke, his son had it as well. Yeah, that's a big thing. So yeah, I think the Wano Samurais are going to play a big part of this Void Century War mural that we're seeing. And I have to mention as well, Momonosuke aged to his regular age now. So, and he's practicing with Odin's sword. He's going to be a big player in the final war, and he's going to be helping Luffy. So I can't wait. Now let's get to the top of the mural. And I think this is one of the more clear-cut images in the mural, and that's the Lunarian. And the reason why the Lunarian is so interesting is because we first learned about it through Marco and Viper speaking about it, and of course Big Mom wanting King to join her crew because he's a Lunarian. And when Zoro's fighting him, of course, also that too. They used to live in the Red Line and they're waiting for Joy Boy. They're pretty much Joy Boy's allies, and the only Lunarian in the series was going against Joy Boy because he thought his captain was Joy Boy, and then he realized it wasn't Joy Boy. Now when Vegapulse message was talking about special races like Lunarians and whatnot, and the Seraphims are based on this race. The Lunarians have so much spotlight, and the only actual real Lunarian right now is King. Now, am I saying King is going to be doing something insane because of this mural? I'm not too sure. I just know that Lunarians back in the days, they were one of the strongest allies of Joy Boy. And the reason why I say that is look how the Seraphims and King, like when Luffy was fighting a Seraphim, he's like, yo, are they Kaido? Like, these guys are so durable and their powers are so unique. Honestly, King losing is just still shocking to me. Yes, it shows how strong Zoro is with the Kankasaki coding and King of Hell mode, but still, King is hacks. I have to keep it real. He's super hacks. Plus with H and Zoan, yeah, he was hacks. And then of course we have Emeth, the Iron Giant. And honestly, Franky gives me Iron Giant vibes. So seeing him in the mural, watching this mural on the Atom Tree, he gives me he looks like he's gonna be like a future Iron Giant. And then we saw a lot of Iron Giant lore during Egghead Island. Saturn keeping it alive, which is just mind-boggling that Saturn kept the Iron Giant alive. Obviously, I'm assuming that has to do with Saturn knowing how valuable the Iron Giant is. Even though he knows he's gonna be punished by, of course, Imu, who knows that Iron Giant was helping Joy Boy in the war. So you have to understand, there's a lot of context of why Saturn actually got taken out. But Emeth did some pretty cool stuff, going up against Workery, and then unleashing Joy Boy's hockey, and they had a good friendship with Joy Boy as well. So seeing Emeth in the mural, it was a no-brainer. Now, this is what I've been seeing a lot of contention when it comes to the ship next to the Wano. People are saying it could be the Kuja Pirates, and me personally, I might be simple, but I just think it's the Alabasta crew, because they have the same flag as Alabasta, and of course they're all the way in the back, showing how the last crew on that mural on Joy Boy's side is all the way in the back, showing how hidden they were. Like, nobody knew that Alabasta was actually not on the Celestial Dragon side, we're actually on Joy Boy's side. So there's a reason why they chose to stay in Alabasta and not move. So I think this was so simple. Queen Lily's on that ship, and then of course that's what I'm thinking, and probably one of her ancient Zoan protectors like we see with Pell, of course. So yeah, that's what I see. Now this is also another complicated one, is the Sulong in the top. At first I thought this might be a Shandian, because I think we already have a Mink. Why put a Sulong version of the Mink? Then I started thinking about it. I'm like, the Sulongs actually have a lot of lore when it comes to the moon and their powers being unleashed by the moon. I think putting just a mink would be kind of like you have to put the Sulong version, the strongest form. So this could be a Sulong version, but it would be cool if it was another creature, maybe even a creature that kind of deciphers what the Sulong is, kind of how like Ancient Giants Oz got deciphered in Elbaf a little bit, the Ancient Giant Blood and whatnot. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And then of course we have another complicated version. We see this huge whale on the top, and the first thing that people come to mind is Laboon. Laboon is the first thing that comes to mind. And then of course I was thinking maybe it's not Laboon. We've seen Jinbei able to control whales during Impel Down escapee. So what if it's a fishman controlling whales like Jinbei in a sense? We know that Joy Boy's gonna need a fishman, not just Shirahoshi the mermaid. He's gonna need a fishman on his side, just how Luffy has Jinbei on his side. So I think that maybe it's just a fishman controlling fish. And then also there's also the whole Moby Dick lore as well. Whitebeard had a fishman on his crew, so a lot of people are kind of playing around with that. Some people are even saying Pluton or Ancient Weapon. I don't know about that, but it could be. It's possible, but still. And then finally we see Mother Flame. Mother Flame is coming from the skies, and I think Mother Flame is one of the most unique abilities or powers in the One Piece verse. It powered Uranus to destroy the Lucia Kingdom, and Vegapunk, we seen that in Egg Island how it was stored. It's so valuable, and to see Mother Flames have such a big part of the mural, it makes me appreciate like, yo, this source of energy is why the voice entry was so advanced technology. And I think that was just cool. But yeah, Mother Flame seems to be a source that Imu's using in the mural. That's one thing I noticed. It's not a source that the Joy Boy side is using. It's more so Imu. So, and what we saw in the current story, Imu is using Mother Flame as well. So interesting. And lastly, I have to talk about Nika with his sword and his shield. And I made a whole video on this recently, talking about how Luffy could discover the original Nika sword and shield from the Void's entry. And I think it's a really great video, honestly, so you guys should check that out. But there's nothing more to say. It's Joy Boy fighting Imu. Joy Boy looks like he's really undermatched against Joy Boy and Imu, just on the size of things. But how many opponents have we seen Luffy get towered over by, like just recently Kaido, and still kicks their ass? So definitely think it's a cool battle. And you saw what Joy Boy's hockey did in Egg Island to Imu. PTSD was through the roof there, guys. Now let's go to the right side of the mural. We see the Atom Tree. The Atom Tree is definitely, like, the mural is on the Atom Tree, so the Atom Tree has to be a part of the mural. It would just be weird if it wasn't. It's the greatest tree in One Piece. And then, of course, Franky is covering something in the bottom, and many people are speculating that he's covering Pluton, or he's covering something big that, like, can't be seen yet. All in all, Franky's covering something, and it could be revealed at the end of Elbaf. Kind of how, like, we saw Luffy and Allah talk about which Yonko they're going to take out, and it gets revealed after Punk Hazard. Same thing could happen here with Franky. Franky be like, oh, the scary thing I actually saw on the mural was this, and then that gets revealed. So I'm a fan of that theory. I'm a fan of it. But yeah, we see the Atom Tree, we see Franky. It's kind of like Franky is a part of the mural, if I'm being completely honest, when it comes to looking at it. Now, when it comes to the right side, it's less characters, but more imagery, in my opinion. And then we see the Celestial Dragon. He's breathing fire. And this looks like it's not Imu, but it looks like it's Imu's Delphoid's origins. Kind of how like Nika is the Delphoid origins from Joy Boy. It's the same thing here. It looks more animalistic compared to the hybrid version we see on the left side. And all in all, it's coming from the top too as well. It looks like it can fly. It just looks like an intense creature. It looks like Kaido on steroids. Like I said, Kaido's Delphoid, Dragon Delphoid on steroids. So maybe it's the original Celestial Dragon. That's where they get their names from. A dragon is such a lore thing in One Piece because we have the Celestial Dragons. We have Kaido's Dragon Delphoid. We have, of course, Punk Hazard. They had Delphoid dragons as well. We have Monosuke, who's a dragon as himself. And then, of course, we also have Ryuma, who cut the head of a dragon. We also have, when it comes to, this could be Imu when it comes to the dragon, and Monkey D. Dragon as well. There's so many things that are connected to dragons, and I'm a fan of it when it comes to the lore of dragons. And this Celestial Dragon breathing fire is just cool. Imu, or origins of his Delphoid, is cool. Then we see the ancient weapon Uranus. You see, on the left side, in my personal opinion, we only ever see one ancient weapon, and that's Shirahoshi. But on the right side, we see the ancient weapon Uranus. And it looks like the arc maxim that Enel stole the idea of. Obviously, Enel stole the idea from Burka. He found some sort of ancient text from the Void Century and said, yo, let me make my own Uranus weapon, but it's not the same thing. As we saw, Imu actually has the Uranus weapon and uses Mother Flame to power it. But still, I see the design of the mural, and it's shooting out lightning beams, kind of like Enel's Death Pia, or the same way Imu destroyed Lucia Kingdom with the 16 rays of light. All in all, it was cool to see. I think it's one of my favorite weapons, I'll be honest with you. Yes, Shirahoshi is powerful with the Poseidon and everything, but this one just looks like chaos. It causes chaos, and I think it causes also the world to be destroyed. I think this weapon is the main reason why the worlds are destroyed when it comes to the first world and the second world. Now, another controversial moment on the right side of the mural is, who is that character standing on Zunisha? We know that Zunisha is friends with Joy Boy. So why is a character that looks like Imu with a crown standing on Zunisha? Now, some people say that's not Imu, that's actually Nika, but I can't give you guys a certain answer because it would be very foolish for me to say that when I just don't know. I have to be honest with you guys. I don't know if that's Imu or that's Nika. The fact that there's a celestial dragon breathing fire, that to me has to be Imu. So it just like by mathematics, I'm thinking this automatically is Nika, but you never know with One Piece. Oda's been breaking her ankles like Allen Iverson since 1997, guys. And then of course it gets a little more interesting too, because the Noah's Ark is inside Zunisha. Zunisha is actually holding the Noah's Ark. We see two animals and all these different creatures, and we even see a Skypian with wings. You see, Oda highlights the Lunarian in the left side, but highlights the Skypian with wings on the Noah, which I found very interesting. The Sky Island peoples needs to be explored more so, in my opinion. They have so much lore connected to the overall One Piece story compared to like different islands in the Blue Sea. But I think the sky was a haven for the destruction of the world. That's the reason why the Holy Land Mirror Dwellers is so high up in the sky when it comes to the on top of the red line. So that's, and the fact that Lunarians used to live there as well. Honestly, I think it's, do I gotta say it, guys? You guys all know where I'm heading with this. Now, probably my favorite design of the mural on the right side is the serpent. The reason why it's my favorite is because the serpent is a new concept. When I say it's not really a new concept, because it gets mentioned in Little Garden by Dory and Broggy, and a lot of people made theories about how the red line is the serpent that covers the world. And of course, I think honestly the whole Loki thing is cool. A legendary devil fruit. If Loki has a serpent devil fruit, it would be interesting. Because the serpent, we don't have much information on, but all we know is that Imu and the serpent look to team up to destroy the world. But it's a good villain for Luffy. I'll be honest with you. If Luffy has to fight not just Imu but also the serpent that are around the same level, Imu has to be a little bit stronger in my opinion, but still around the same level, that would be hype. Now, who's it gonna be? Maybe Garling has a serpent devil fruit. I'm not too sure, but still, I like this serpent here. Some people are saying it's Loki because the design has the same sash as the ancient giant in the left side, but still, all in all, I'm a fan of this whole serpent. It's an Elbaf lore thing, so we're gonna find more about the serpent in this arc that's gonna hype up in the final arc of One Piece. So cool, it's cool stuff. And then of course on the far right side, we see this factory, and don't forget what Vegapunk said: the Void Century is more advanced than the current day. So this factory looks very advanced. And honestly, it's pumping in this factory. Like it's look like it's animated, if I'm being honest, the way it's been drawn, showing Oda's artistic work. Even in his artistic work is insane. But this factory looks cool, interesting. I wonder if there's gonna be like a Vegapunk figure that's similar to Vegapunk, like a scientist guy that's in that factory. But I love it. And then the whole concept of the Mother Flame, it looks like it's coming out of the factory and then going towards Zunisha, and then the energy of Mother Flame is getting shrinked, and then it's going down, and then it, of course, I don't know where it goes after that. It looks like this keeps returning to the factory. It looks like it's a whole machine work going, and it looks like when it comes to Mother Flame on the left side, it looks like it's for Imu, but on the right side, it looks like it's for Nika. Maybe I'm mistaken, but that's my opinion when it comes to deciphering the right side of the mural. And the final thing I have to talk about on the right side of the mural is the moon. The moon is very prevalent. The sun is prevalent on the left side, but the moon is prevalent on the right side. And the reason why I found this interesting is because the moon gets mentioned in that text, the Harley text, many times. The half moon, the full moon, Sulong connected to the moon, the Willet D. I'm not too sure what the exact reason for the moon being shown here, but we all know Enel wanted to go to the moon as well, and Enel's Arc Maxim is in that mural, so I'm a fan of it. Maybe Enel saw a similar mural of the Arc Maxim and the moon and thought, okay, I gotta get to the Earth, the great, that's my home place, that's where I gotta be. But Enel's now there, so I thought the moon was cool and all, and I thought I had to decipher it. So the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to this mural, and I saved it for last for a reason, because we are in the Elbaf arc. So the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to the mural is Elbaf related. And that's the ancient giant on the left side. Yes, I moved my way from the left side to the right side, and I skipped him when I initially did the left side. That's because I felt like this should be last. Right next to Luffy, or I can't really say Luffy, now right next to Nika, we see this huge creature. It's actually the largest creature on our Joy Boy side. It has horns, and it resembles Loki. And it's definitely an original ancient giant from the Void Century, with ancient giant blood, showing that, of course, we know that Loki's father ripped his horns out of his head because he wants to stop the violence. Joy Boy had a violent character, incredibly powerful character in an ancient giant. the likes of Oz and the likes of Oz Jr. we saw in Marineford War. We're gonna see that similar during the final, well, not necessarily final war, but during the war of the Second World, the 4th Century War, and could foreshadow some events that are gonna happen in Elbaf. Of course, this is wearing the same design as the serpent in the mural, so maybe Loki has the legendary Delph fruit. I'm not too sure, but still, I feel like it was the last thing I should talk about. Now, guys, this is my last video deciphering the mural. I had to do it because I promised it. Honestly, I've reread this mural so many times, and the next time I talk about it, I'm probably gonna go do my deep research of the past story of One Piece and try to connect it to the future. We'll have a Skypiea, an hour-long retelling of Skypiea dropping on the channel as well. You guys are gonna love that content. And honestly, guys, I'm just tired, bro. One Piece 1138 has exhausted me, guys. My brain hurts, guys. So debate in the comments.